Hello, this is Andy. Today is January 23rd, 2023. Today, I will introduce Seochon, a village near Gyeongbokgung in Seoul. It is very interesting to travel to cities, and to understand the lives and history of the locals. During the Joseon dynasty, Seoul, or Hansung as it was known, as back then, was a planned city, designed according to Confucian ideals and standards. To the left of the palace, Jongmyo Shrine is located. Sajik is on the right, and major government offices such as the Uijeongbu, Yukio, and Hansongbu were on the left and right to the main road, in front of the palace. Ukijian, which was the main market in the city, was located on the sides of Cheongno-dero, which is from Cheongdeokgung to Jongro, and Namdaemun to Jeonggak. Ukijian referred to 6 main products in the market, which was silk, cotton, cloth, paper, sambi, and fish. The products being sold did not necessarily had to be 6 types of products, and diversified over time. Merchants who received permission to sell in the market paid certain amount of taxes to the state. Up until the 1980s, silk and cloth shops remained in Jongro. For the prosperity of the dynasty from the feng shui perspective, the Joseon dynasty chose Bubak-san as the main northern mountain for Gyeongbokgung, with Naksan to the left and Inwonsan to the right, based on the 4 symbols. Inwonsan was called Sasan in the early periods of the Joseon dynasty, but has been changed to Inwonsan since King Sejong's reign, with the will to and symbolically protect the dynasty. Inwonsan is a mountain mostly covered with granite, and there are many rocks with bizarre shapes due to centuries of weathering. Holes and formations on the rock can be often seen, and each rock has names such as Sundawi, Hedalgawi, Mohabawi, and Biondawi. Seoul has a history of being the capital for more than 1,300 years, including Baekje of the Three Kingdoms period, Joseon dynasty, and later Korean Empire, and today's modern period. It is one of the very few countries in the world which maintains a metropolitan of more than a millennia. Cities such as Athens, Rome, Madrid, Istanbul, London, Paris, and Shanghai are all over a millennia old, and maintain their own distinctive appearance and urban landscape, creating its very own cultural identity. People all over the world travel to these places to make friends and to experience said cultures. However, Seoul, another one of the oldest historical cities, currently has little to show in terms of historical heritage and cultural identity. Once you enter Seoul after traveling from the airports, all that is seen are modern buildings and roads. Places where you can feel the millennia of culture and history are the 5 grand palaces within, or near the center of Seoul, the alleys of Insadong, the dense Hanok in Seochon and Seochon, northeast and west of Gyeongbokgung. During the Joseon dynasty, each area within the city walls of Hansung, now Seoul, housed large residences, land, and/or collective residence for powerful families and government officials, showing distinct regional characteristics and lifestyle. This phenomenon gradually began to appear around and after the Japanese invasion of Korea in 1592, and became more evident around the 18th century, when the development of commerce and industry, the societal agitation and division, and the power struggle between the Yanban class intensified. More specifically, Seochon, which is located between Gyeongbokgung and Cheongdeokgung, was the residence of the ruling classes, while Seochon, which is located between Gyeongbokgung and Inwonsan, was a place for Jingin, Joseon's upper middle class, and professionals who worked as military officers, translators, doctors, engineers, and painters. Cheongyecheon is a stream located at the border between Seochon and Namcheon, was not for general residents, but a representative commercial and entertainment hub of the capital. However, Seochon is a place that retains the true life and a long history of the local residents of Seoul. Of the 1,400 Hanok houses within the 4 city gates, 300 remain in Seochon, and the local Hanok have different cultural characteristics from that of Bukchon. In Seochon, residential Hanok are not the only Hanok to exist, unlike Bukchon. There are various spatial Hanoks for scholar officials to commoners, all harmonized as the livelihoods of the people that live within. As such, there are both tangible and intangible ways of people living from the past to the present, such as shaman houses, philosophy institutes for name-giving and fortune-telling, traditional markets such as Tongjin Market, temples within the city, and those who live in small hanoks, under long-standing, often familial justifications. Hanok in Seochon tend to be small in area, and the two main types are the Myeom shape and the Digat shape houses. The shape and size of the Sikkara and the Dedilbo are small, and the use of miscellaneous components, and their methods of construction, are very different from the appearance of the refined Hanok. The reason for this is the destruction of most large Hanoks built in the early to mid-Joseon dynasty, after the Japanese invasion of Korea, in 1592. Currently, most of the Hanoks in Seochon are collective Hanoks built in the later periods of Joseon dynasty and through Japanese colonial era, with the so-called Jipjangsa Hanok. Due to the depletion of pine trees, which were largely absent at the time, construction costs were considerable when constructing the house in traditional construction method. As a result, Hanoks of similar sizes were built in collective and uniform manner in large quantities. In addition, group residences were planned for the Hanok in Seochon. In other words, Seochon became a valuable data in that it symbolizes the process of Korea's housing industry, that is, to a period of ordinary, lightweight, and commercially uniformed Hanok. When you visit Seochon, you will be able to see various places related to times from the Joseon dynasty to the modern era. It is a pity that restaurants, cafes, and some few hundred Hanoks are the only remaining buildings in Seochon. Seochon and Bukchon began to attract foreign tourists as they became famous thanks to a blend of traditional atmosphere and architecture, alongside unique characteristics only found there. In a country like Korea, which has become an apartment republic, places like Seochon and Bukchon are one of the places where you can feel the Korean sensibility. During the Joseon dynasty, the middle people known as Junin accumulated wealth through administrative practices. Interpreters had the authority to take 80 good, or roots, of ginseng instead of travel expenses, where they would sell them in China to purchase books in return, in order to sell them back to Korea or Japan. In addition, medical doctors were allowed to deal drugs and medicine, so they also accumulated wealth by monopolizing such materials nationwide. Said individuals who accumulated wealth would expand their social activities by creating their own gatherings to exchange information and to expand connections through regular gatherings. As Seochon has a long history, there are several things to see. As I have said previously, the place we are at, which is Seochon, is a village located between Gyeongbokgung and Inwonsan. If you walk along this road and step into the alley, you would be able to feel the old vibes of the village, with art, literature, and history of the Joseon dynasty today.
아니, 짐승이라니, 이 짐승이 도대체 무슨 짐승이냐? 우리 조상 쪽부터 못 보던 짐승이로구나. 그럼 어디 한번 물어보자. 아니, 네가
The trees have all been chopped down here, which is sad to see them all gone. The lace bark pine and Tungidong, which were over 3 centuries old, were unfortunately swept clean due to the summer typhoon of July of 1990, which is why they have withered to death like this. Putting that sadness behind, government has collected seeds from those fallen trees and planted them in 4 different areas. As of right now, out of the trees that were planted, 3 of them are still alive. They are growing well today. By the look of the stumps, it is easy to imagine the size of the tree. The trees were 16 meters tall with 5 meters circumference, but these stumps are the only thing remaining now. Part of this lace bark pine site in Seochon was the residence of the royal family of the Joseon dynasty. King Yeongjo, Joseon's 21st king, lived in Changdeok until he rose to the throne, and that place, Changdeok, is here. The palace was here until 1907, where it was demolished in 1908. Couple years later in 1910, the Japanese Oriental Development Company built residence in the same site for its employees. But after the independence, the residence was demolished. So today, the site has changed like this. If you walk along Tunjin Market, which is near Seochon Village Food Street, you will arrive at a place called Seochon, where we are standing right now. Seochon is a town located east of Inwangsan, and it means uptown. It used to be the old name of Seochon. Seochon's old deserted hanok went under restoration for a year, and in June 2017, it was reborn as a cultural space where people can experience Korean culture, as well as other related programs. Yu Sanjiang has a deep relation with one person, Yin Dukhyung, who was the uncle of Empress Yin Sunjin, who was the queen of the Korean Empire's Emperor Sunjin. As a reward for helping to accomplish the Japanese annexation of Korea, Yin Dukhyung received Japan's royal bounty and became a viscount for selling out the country. With said royal bounty, he bought a huge plot of land in today's Ogundong and built Yu Sanjiang, which had French architecture. That being said, I cannot believe that 2 pillars are the only remains of this place. Yun Dukhyang's residence was later used as a hospital and officers' dormitory until it was demolished back in 1973. So now, said 2 pillars are all that is left of the place. What you are looking at is the Yin family house, which is on the way to Susungdong Valley. The Yin family house was built by the aforementioned Japanese collaborator, Yin Dukhyung. It was built in 1910 and was called Yin Dukhyang's Sasiljit. In 1998, the Namsangal Hanok village was created, and Yin family house was attempted to be relocated, but the frames of the building were too damaged to be able to do so. As a result, the house has stayed here ever since. Right now in the Namsangal Hanok village, there's a new replica of the Yin family house in Ogundong, which looks identical to the original. Inside the house, the Ankai and Sarangche is in a square shape. The top pillar is in the Akong style, which was a rare style to be used back then, further showing the utmost elite Hanok style. As the house is replicated in the Namsangal Hanok village, I recommend you to check the place out later on. the amazing scenery and the sound of water brings peace to my mind. I did not even know there was a place like this in Seoul. As this place is a valley, a lot of people gather here in summer. The place got its name due to the sound of water flowing from Inwangsan. The valley was where Joseon dynasty's Prince Hyeryong and Prince Anpyeong's old residence were located. The dong in Susungdong means valley. According to Hangyong Jirak, which contains writings about today's Seoul around 2 centuries ago, it says, located at the foot of Inwangsan, the valley is quiet and deep. The stream and the rocks are outstanding, and it is great to view as you play in summer. The scenery here is just that outstanding. The drawing you are seeing now was drawn during King Yeongjo's reign in 1715 by the artist Cheng Sun. At the south foot of Inwangsan, he painted Bugaksan's formation. He also painted 8 areas of Jangdong on a canvas, and this particular painting is called Susungdong. Cheng Sun is one of the representative painters of Joseon dynasty, who started the trend of realistic landscape painting. This looks like a place that was really lived in. I think it is a great example of a hanok. The painter Yi Sang-bum lived here for 43 years, starting from 1929 until his death in 1972. Yi Sang-bum continued the Korean tradition of realistic landscape painting, passed down from Cheng Sun, and used ink to paint in a technique called Seochon to paint the nature of Korea. Examples like this show Seochon as a village of art. This looks like a place that was really lived in. I think it is a great example of a hanok. The painter Yi Sang-bum, pen name Chung Sun, lived here for 43 years, starting from 1929 until his death in 1972. Yi Sang-bum continued the Korean tradition of realistic landscape painting, passed down from Cheng Sun, and used ink to paint in a technique called Seochon to paint the nature of Korea. Examples like this show Seochon as a village of art. Once you head inside, you will be able to see the paintings of Yi Sang-bum painted. This is where the writer Lee Sang lived. Lee Sang, who was a poet and a writer, was born here in Sajik-dong in 1910. Unfortunately, he passed away at the young age of 27. The place we are in right now is where he was brought in at the age of 3 via adoption. He continued to live in his uncle's house for 20 years, until his death. If you look at the ceiling, the house utilized the Hanok's Sakkara style, and this space was renovated into a modern gallery. Yi Sang was labeled as both a genius and a clown, living most of his life here. The house is now being used as a cultural space to show his ambitious artistic spirit. As I have commented about the alleys of Seochon with you, it is now time for us to wrap up. I believe the charm of this place is that you can visit where your heart take you to, and find various nook and cranny of the alleyways. That would be it. Thank you for watching. We provide best services with the motto of low cost and trust for foreigners from all over the world who want to purchase real estate such as houses, land, and buildings in Korea. We also provide services for foreigners to settle down, such as real estate investment, immigration, and living services.